name is Paul Fasana. I met Robert in New York in the early 60s. He was rather fussy, living on the east side, and I was living in the village. And I was invited as a friend of a friend to go to his apartment one evening for a play reading. He had play readings, he and his roommate had play readings once a month. I arrived there slightly tipsy and not very much welcomed by Robert's roommate at the time. But in any event, the play reading went well. It was the importance of being earnest. Of course, Robert was earnest, and I ended up being Cecily. After that, it just seemed to sort of fit comfortably. And 48 years later, we were still sort of talking with each other. Robert and I met in mid-60s, 1964 or 5. We never quite agreed which year it was. We spent the next 40 years on Manhattan, working, living there. At that time, being gay was not easily accepted by his corporation or my profession. So even though we lived together and were very intimate, we were very separate socially on Manhattan. However, on weekends we used to get away to Fire Island, and for years we had a house either at Fire Island or in the Hamptons, just so that we could escape. Robert always insisted that we had to have 3 places. One place on Manhattan, one place convenient to Manhattan, such as Fire Island, and some place where it was always warm. Fort Lauderdale was the place where we finally decided that it would be best for our retirement years. Robert was always very active, very forward while he was working. And when he retired down here, he couldn't stand to do nothing. So he became more and more involved with a number of local institutions. And with that, he became more and more aggressive about philanthropy. And as he did with me in all the years we were together, he dragged me along. So the two of us ended up being very philanthropic, I guess you would say. Yes, it was a very rewarding period. So Robert and I decided that what we wanted best to do was to give back to society that which we had earned over our long professional careers. In New York, during the period that we were there and working, it was very difficult to be openly gay. In fact, it was impossible to be openly gay. Robert and I felt, as later in life, that we would like to do something that would help younger people who could feel more comfortable with their gayness at an earlier point in their life, to feel more comfortable in the straight and in the gay communities. And we hope that some of the money that we've given, some of the philanthropies that we've supported, will support that kind of activity, that kind of effort. Last year I gave a party for Robert, and I claimed that it was for his 90th birthday, which he took issue with because he wasn't going to be 90 until 3 months later. But I'm glad that, well, we had the party. He died last year, a very peaceful death. I think satisfied. The Stonewall Library has been in existence for 30 or 40 years, and during that period it's never had a steady income. It lived on donations. There were no endowments for books, no endowments for any of the materials that the library does collect. And this is not the way you build a library, because in building a library you have to have a steady income so that you can buy things as they appear, as they are published. If you don't, they become fugitive and very, very difficult to acquire. I felt that Stonewall needed to have a more firm base in terms of its acquisition programs, And that's why I set up the special endowment for the purchase of library materials in print or electronic format for the Stonewall Library. Robert and I agreed that philanthropy should be something that should become a part of your everyday life. Be a philanthropist and make the connection.